Thank you, Dan. Good evening once again. And the rain sweeping down across the John Smith Stadium rather sums up the gloomy mood of Huddersfield Town fans at the moment. They'll have been hoping for some sort of bounce, some sort of reaction following relegation from the Premier League back in May. But so far, it has been a very difficult start to the season. And according to those in the boardroom, there is no more money to lavish on this side before January. In contrast, Fulham have seen some green shoots of recovery. They started with a defeat here in Yorkshire against Barnsley, but there were better signs in their 2-0 victory against Blackburn Rovers last week. And if you look at their squad, there is quality, and it has a similar sort of balance to the one which won promotion here via the playoffs 2 seasons ago. A reminder of the teams, one change each from their previous league games. Of course, Huddersfield had a bitterly disappointing 1-0 defeat at home to League One Lincoln in the Carabao Cup in midweek. But there's only one change from the side, which drew 1-1 at Queen's Park Rangers last Saturday. Adama Diakabi drops to the bench, and Elias Kachunga, who was a regular goal scorer during the promotion season from the Championship back in 2017, he comes in on the right-hand side of an attacking trio. So it's Grabara in goal, Hadayonai, Elphick, Schindler and Congolo the back four, Bakuna, Hogg and O'Brien in midfield, Kachunga and Pritchard either side of Grant, who has scored both of Huddersfield's goals so far this season from the penalty spot. As for Fulham, it's an interesting change. Of course, Ryan Sessegnon has dominated the scene at Craven Cottage over the past few years. He's been sold to Spurs for a fee which could eventually rise to £30 million. And it's his twin brother Stephen who comes in to make his first league start for Fulham tonight. Dennis Odoi is the man who drops out. So it's Bettinelli in goal, Sessegnon, Mawson, Ream and Bryan the back four, Kearney, Arter and Johansson in midfield, Knockaert and Caballero looking to supply the ammunition for Mitrovic. The two benches for Huddersfield, it's Chalobah, Diakabi, Bockhorn, Kwana, Schofield, Van La Parra and Mounier. For Fulham, Rodak the goalkeeper, McDonald, Reed, Lemanchon, Reed, Christie and Kamara. Matt Murray looking at the two managers. Scott Parker looks very calm, very composed inside his technical area, but Jan Sievert has the look of a man who knows this is a big evening personally for him, even at this stage in mid-August.
Yeah, you don't like putting managers under pressure, but I just think, as I say, what happened last season, and there wasn't really any of that, is that new manager bounce, is that the word you want to use? So he knows that, you know, they're relegated, so are Fulham. He's got to perform. You've got to win your home games. They've got, you know, before these fans really got behind the Wagner side, they want to see a change. So yeah, I think it is a massive evening for him, and he's stood there already watching his team. His work is done. He needs them now to really perform, execute the game plan. But yeah, I do think he is under a little bit of pressure if a few more results go against him.
And the footballing weekend is underway on the TalkSport network here on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, and it's Fulham in all red, playing from right to left in the first half, and they very quickly won a free kick inside Huddersfield territory. Huddersfield in their blue and white stripes, white shorts and white socks, and after a crowd of over 22,500 here for the opening night victory against Derby County, there are far fewer than that inside the stadium here this evening. Of course, Fulham have a lower away travelling support than Derby would have had on that evening. Maybe 400 or 500 of those who've made the long difficult journey up from southwest London on a Friday evening away to our right hand side. Johansson with the free kick for Fulham, high in the penalty area. Ream at the far post, jabs a volley across the face of goal, but the American was offside, and it will be a free kick for Huddersfield. But in the home areas there are loads and loads of empty blue and white seats, and clearly, well, it's early season, people are on holiday, but the Huddersfield fans, some of them, are voting with their feet already.
Yeah, if this continues, this trend, then it will be a concern for the owners, for the hierarchy of Huddersfield, when fans do vote with their feet. So as you say, it is that summer period, but this is when you were here before, when he got promoted, the place was rocking, it was buzzing, and it gave them that edge. And the way that they connected with the fans and Wagner and everyone else, and they need to recreate that this season.
Now Kachunga coming forward down the right-hand side for Fulham, into the feet of Grant and wide towards Kachunga again. A low cross into the penalty area. Pritchard was the target, but it's very confidently brought down by Harry Arter and cleared away as far as Bakuna. The crowd urge him to shoot, but Grant lays a decent ball wide to this near side. The cross into the penalty area, across the face of goal, and the shot is blocked inside the penalty area by Sessegnon, and it was a brilliant block from the man making his league debut to surely prevent a goal. It was fired in with some power on the edge of the penalty area, I think by the youngster Lewis O'Brien, and in the end Sessegnon, another teenager, made a brilliant sprawling save for Fulham.
Well, we talked in the build-up about the wide men staying wide. Well, Kachunga was wide, but so was Hadajena. They created an overload there, if you like. Fantastic ball in from Hadajena. You say it was O'Brien. So if you want to score goals, your midfielders need to create make the box. O'Brien was definitely was a goal-bound strike on his greasy surface, power in it. But yes, young Sessegnon came out, put his body on the line. And whatever touch it is, when you're making that debut, it settles you down. But what a start from Huddersfield, but good block. But how calm was Harry Arter early when the ball came into him on his greasy surface just to control the ball. So you can see, though, O'Brien is going to try and lock on Harry Arter and stop him dictating play. But very, very good, energetic start from Huddersfield, but fantastic defending from Sessegnon.
Could prove to be a very good signing, Harry Arter, for Fulham, on loan from Bournemouth, and interestingly, he is Scott Parker's brother-in-law as well.
Yeah. Hope he does well for him, otherwise it could be awkward, like Christmas dinners and things like that, couldn't it?
Footballers don't have Christmas dinners.
Oh, you do, a little bit. You just have no wine with it, but it's quite a healthy dinner actually, but it's a long way away of that yet.
Well, now a break for Fulham. Johansson down the centre. Hadayonai comes across to make the challenge and hooks it away on this near side for a Fulham throw-in down their right. We played nearly 4 minutes on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL, and it's 0-0 between Huddersfield and Fulham. Both these sides relegated from the Premier League last season, and that's really epitomised by the two scorelines. The home sides winning both games by a goal to nil. Timothy Fosu-Mensah with an own goal here to give Huddersfield a very rare victory. Alexandra Mitrovic scoring in injury time at Craven Cottage over the Christmas period, and when Huddersfield lost that game, I think they knew even then they were going down. Now Elphick goes back towards Kamil Grabara, the goalkeeper on loan from Liverpool. It's rare to see a Liverpool goalkeeper fit this week, as his long ball downfield is controlled by Sessegnon and played back towards Marcus Bettinelli, defending the Fulham goal away to our right-hand side. Now Tim Ream, as Fulham play the ball out from the back into the feet of Kearney, and it's a good ball from Mawson wide towards the far side, and Sessegnon. Of course, Ryan Sessegnon made his name playing down the left-hand side. Stephen Sessegnon down the right. Another long ball forward for Fulham, nodded down by Johansson on the edge of the penalty area. Now Mitrovic lays it wide to this near side, and Cavallero, the early cross into the penalty area, is beyond Mitrovic, and the Serb will do well to keep the ball in play on the far side, and he's done so, and he's got support from Sessegnon. And now infield towards Kenny again, and Fulham here getting players very highly advanced in the opening stages. It's laid wide towards this near side, and then Arter will go back towards Ream, and there's plenty of time for Alfie Mawson to look to pick a pass, and he's found Knockout on the far side, and the Huddersfield Town crowd looking to get behind their team, but Fulham dominating possession here in the opening 6 minutes on TalkSport 2, but it's 0-0.
It's been interesting because now Huddersfield are pressing again, but they started off pressing, locking onto Arter, not letting Fulham have a second, but then they dropped into a little bit of a low block. Very clear that obviously midfielders for Huddersfield making a box, but Johansson has tried to make a couple of runs from midfield, which are very, very hard to trap. But yeah, Fulham now are just starting to have a little bit of possession, build into it, but these Huddersfield fans that we talked about before are trying to get behind their team and want them to lock on, and Siva, you can see screaming, come on, lock on, get after them, and these are all the things that they've been working on in training for sure.
But there will be a lack of confidence in the Huddersfield team as Cavallero flicks a long ball forward, and if a team crashes out of a division like Huddersfield do, when you come back at the start of the next season, is the confidence still low, or do people basically put it behind them? Because they look like a team that are suffering from a footballing hangover.
I think it can be difficult, and I think that you can think of a lot of teams that have felt that way. Sunderland struggled. They came down on a real low, struggled. Aston Villa, when they came down, do you remember? And they really struggled. And I think it ended up with Steve Bruce, was it, who had to come in and sort of turn that around. So yeah, there definitely is a hangover.
Lewis O'Brien, though, plays it wide to the far side, and Pritchard, who tries to go beyond Sessegnon, but he does well to stick with him, forces him inside, and the low shot from some way out from Pritchard, coming in field, right-footed, just spins beyond Bettinelli's near post.
Pritchard's made a career of that, and Sessegnon's getting tight to him, but once he comes inside, you know, he wants to show him down the line. Sessegnon, he comes inside, Bettinelli knows that he has it covered, but Pritchard's always made a career of it. You think for Brentford, you know, when he was on loan from Tottenham, scored a lot of good goals like that for Norwich as well. Hard to stop. You know what he wants to do, but stopping him is something different. But he's just finding his range, didn't quite hit the target there, but good play from Pritchard.
Bettinelli finds Joe Bryant on this near side, but it's a poor ball down the line from him, intercepted by Bakuna, but Johansson was there on the cover, and it will be a throw-in for Huddersfield Town, which Huddersfield will take midway inside the Fulham half on this near side, the Huddersfield right. Now Elphick finding Schindler, the captain, and Bakuna again will just play it back towards Schindler as the rain continues to tumble down from grey skies here in the West Riding of Yorkshire. It's a very autumnal feel, even though it's still mid-August, as Knockaert got us for Fulham now on the far side, and Knockaert will try and go beyond O'Brien, and he's done so. A low cross into the penalty area, fisted away by the goalkeeper as far as Johansson. He finds Cavallero with the curler, and it's just wide, and Grabara got lucky there. He went to punch when really it was nothing to do with him, and as a result there was self-inflicted pressure on the Huddersfield goal, and Cavallero almost capitalised.
Yeah, it's a good play from Knockaert. I know it's greasy conditions, but if you're going to play for Liverpool, I believe you have to be more competent there, but that's why he's out on loan. Now when you coach goalkeepers, and when we always coach, you always say to you, first thought is catch, second thought is punch. He's already made his mind up that he's just going to punch that, and he palms into a dangerous area, and then Johansson does very well. I thought his first touch a little bit heavy, but then he still gets his composure. You could see what Cavallero was trying to do, guide it in that bottom corner, just wide there, and then Grabara's goal kick, he just put it straight out of play. But for the young goalkeeper, very nervy moment, and I think you're seeing that with Muric at Nottingham Forest as well. Some of these young goalies are coming from big clubs, and that's a little bit what they're, you know, why they need these loans, to get over these sort of moments.
Bryan wide to this near side, 9.5 minutes played on TalkSport 2, 0-0. Cavallero, who himself is on loan from Wolves, wants a free kick as he's quickly challenged by Hogg, but nothing doing from the referee James Linnington. And now a long ball forward from Huddersfield, looking for the run in behind from Grant, but stretching to clear in mid-air was Bryan, and it's a throw-in for Huddersfield on this near side. Now Huddersfield once again heading towards the byline, but sliding in again was Bryan, and it will be a throw-in to Huddersfield Town. And the home crowd here, understanding the situation, doing their best to try and raise their spirits with some raucous support in the opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, they are fantastic fans here, and you've seen that.
Now Huddersfield does well to ride the challenge of Bryan, plays it into the penalty area, looking for Kachunga, who was challenged by Ream, and the final challenge or final touch was off the Huddersfield Town man, and it will be a goal kick to Fulham away to our right.
Yeah, good play again from Huddersfield, and he's got real good energy levels. He looks like a fantastic build, a good athlete, gets up and down that pitch. But yeah, these Huddersfield fans, they're going to be key. They've got to stay with the team. They want to see improvement, progress on the pitch. They want to see hard work, and at the moment you can see a game plan, identity. What they're trying to do is, again, Fulham are trying to build from the back, but Huddersfield are pressing. But when you press like this, you have to also be locked on and concentrate at the back, because the idea of this is sometimes to go bang, we'll just beat the press, go over the top, and then build off that. So the Huddersfield boys at the back, Schindler, Elphick, need to stay switched on.
Now Tom Kearney, wearing number 10, plays it infield and very rarely wastes possession at this level, as Fulham play a rather dicey ball. It was Knockaert into the left back area, but Bryan was able to recover, plays a long ball downfield, and there's an aerial challenge there between Bakuna and Johansson, and Bakuna just had an arm on the back of Johansson's neck, and James Linnington has given the free kick.
He didn't need to commit the foul there, but it was a poor ball into the corner. But Kachunga, he set the tone, he pressed it, he realised it was a bad ball, he pressed, so that meant that Brian had to put his foot through it. So Huddersfield would have won the ball back there, and just a bit of naivety there from Bakuna, showing a bit over eagerness. He didn't need to go and challenge for that. Johansson using experience, get his body in the way, wins a free kick. And that's what I've seen with Bakuna against Derby. I think some excellent bits there, the skill to win the penalty, some really, really good bits of play, but sometimes either just turns it over and just, a little bit of carelessness, if you like.
12 minutes played as Fulham come forward again now with Bryant wide towards Cavallero. Johansson takes over down the left and tries to skip the ball over a couple of Huddersfield players to release Cavallero once again, but it's nodded away by Harajonai, and it will be a throw-in for Fulham again, taken quickly by Bryant, back in field towards Arter. He's got the presence of mind to turn, and there is space and time now for Mawson to try and bring the ball forward for Fulham. It's a ball wide to this near side, looking for Cavallero, but on such a wet night the ball will always gather pace off the turf, and it skips away from Cavallero, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, as you say, the surface is difficult. It's a lovely playing surface, but when that grease is on it, it's great for the passing football in and around the feet, but there it just picked up pace. Cavallero is never going to catch it. But again, now you look at Huddersfield setting up for the goal kick, and Fulham are playing a full press. So both teams are trying to pull from the back, but I feel Fulham have been braver with it. They're the ones who've really, really tried to stick to it. But with Huddersfield, they set up for it, but now they have actually played it. But I feel that they are the ones who are looking to go maybe a little bit longer, and that might be a confidence thing. 13
minutes play. You're listening to Huddersfield against Fulham in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with our old friend Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL. As Huddersfield tried to play out from the back once again, but it was hurried and a bit nervy, and as a result Fulham are quickly able to make the challenge, and Huddersfield have a throw-in not too far from their corner flag on this near side. We've had one or two latecomers enter the stadium, but the crowd here looks to be well short of 20,000, which really is a sign of the times for Huddersfield Town. People want to see winning football once they drop out of the higher division, but it's easier said than done. Now Johansson finding Bryant, who comes in field, invites the challenge from O'Brien, and Kachunga quickly picks up a loose ball, but Arter, showing his Premier League experience, just puts his body between Bakuna and the ball to win it back. But now Huddersfield are quick with the press themselves. Harajonai wide towards the right hand side, and Kachunga wait for the cross, but it never arrives because it was Arter again stepping in to make the challenge, and it's a throw in taken quickly by Harajonai, finding Bakuna, who slides it towards the edge of the penalty area. I'm not too sure the pass was intended for O'Brien. As a result it spins clear, but Fulham unable to break as it doesn't work out between Mitrovic and Knockaert. And now Pritchard coming forward down the left hand side for Huddersfield. Was he caught by Sessegnon as he looked to brush beyond him? He was, and it's a free kick for Huddersfield and a yellow card for Stephen Sessegnon on his Fulham League debut.
And that's where young Sessegnon's going to learn, and he showed great desire to get out there, but then you've got to put the brakes on, and Pritchard realised he was coming at too much speed, and he just knocks the ball off him. A little nutmegs there, yet through his legs, and Sessegnon just pulls him back. Correct decision, but now he's got, it's 15 minutes into the game against one of the most tricky wide men in the game. You're young, you're inexperienced, you're going to be on a yellow card, so a big learning curve for him, and a free kick in a dangerous situation. But that's what it was. He didn't put his brakes on early enough, and Pritchard skipped past him with ease.
Pritchard is over the free kick. Schindler and Elphick are both forward, lurking with intent alongside Bakuna at the far post, and at the moment none of them are marked. Three Huddersfield players will surely make the run across the penalty area, but it's played short by Pritchard, fired in by O'Brien. It's blocked back towards O'Brien, and the ball in looking for Congolo, and Congolo coming back from the goal line was offside, and the planned move for Huddersfield comes to nothing. It's now cleared long downfield from the free kick by Bettinelli. Johansson will look to try and challenge for it, but coming back was Harajonai, showed great pace himself. He won a throw, and now O'Brien will bring it forward here for Huddersfield. 16 minutes played, 0-0, but the home side beginning to settle into the game.
Yeah, Jan Sievert is very disappointed because Pritchard had run a free kick in a dangerous situation. Fulham went for a three-man wall out there, which is quite unusual. He'd probably have two there. There was an overload at the back post. They didn't utilise that, like you said. There's 3 big players standing there. He could have hung up to the back, and then the ball to the edge wasn't laid correctly, so it allowed the bodies to get out to it. So opportunity wasted. Then obviously the offside, quick free kick up the other end. But O'Brien so far, didn't notice him as much against Derby, but he's been impressive. He has. He's a young player and against some very, very experienced midfielders. You're telling me about him, and he's a decent young player, isn't he?
Yep, had a very good season on loan at Bradford City. They were relegated from League One, but he was their player of the year as a teenager. And the England under-21 manager, Eddie Boothroyd, is sat just in front of us here watching tonight, and I'm sure he'll be one of the people he's keeping an eye on. As Cavallero now streaks forward for Fulham down the left-hand side, breaks into the penalty area. He's still going onto the right foot, but the low shot lacked any real venom, and it's a routine save for Grabara.
It'll be very interesting to see if Knockaert was offside, because him and Cavallero having words at the moment. Some player, I think it was Kachunga that went to ground. Cavallero was in. It just looked like he could have rolled that ball into Knockaert, who had the run on the defence, but maybe thought it was offside, didn't release it, and ended up quite a tame shot in the end and a comfortable save. But that was a fantastic opportunity in that transition, and that's the pace, that's the threat that Fulham have got. But they should, Scott Parker, be disappointed that they haven't seriously tested Grabara there, and really probably should have scored with the amount of players, the red shirts he had in the box.
The stadium was momentarily bathed in some rather eerie looking evening sunshine just for a second before the thick grey clouds took over once again on a very damp night here in West Yorkshire, as Bakuna tries an ambitious ball with the outside of his right foot, playing on the right hand side, looking for Hadayonai, doesn't find him, and it's a throw in for Fulham with 18 minutes played. And on our monitor we're just watching that opportunity once again, and Cavallero was clearly onside, and Knockaert was looking for the pullback, and when it should have been delivered, he was onside. Yeah,
when he could have released it, but I think he felt at first he was offside, and I think maybe he had just slightly edged. Certainly if it was in the Premier League and they'd gone to VAR and he'd have passed it, it would have been a contentious one. But just going back to Bakuna there, again, some very rash, and that's the thing. If he's going to play at a top championship side and dominate the ball, he's got to be more careful, take more care in possession. Fantastic pressing just then from Mitrovic. Both teams are working hard, playing a real intensity, but Bakuna that time, again, he's trying passes, which shows the confidence. Maybe Kongalo should have been switched onto it, but he's giving the ball away again, and that's the thing. Siva very frustrated, the turnover of possession too much.
But it's 0-0 with 19 minutes played. Of course, the stats are really ugly for both teams. Jan Sievert, 1 win in 18 games in charge, and that came against Wolves, bizarrely.
You had to mention that, eh?
Yeah, of course, they won. Was it 3 games last season, 2 of them against Wolves?
Yeah.
But for Fulham, it's only 5 points in 21 away games, and they were beaten at Barnsley on the opening day, as Mitrovic, who's not really been involved so far, comes back into the play to try and occupy the midfield and just trips up O'Brien, and it's a free kick for Fulham. Hogg was for Huddersfield rather. Hogg was looking to take it quickly, but Mitrovic stood very close to the ball to prevent it. Now, where Fulham have their backs turned to the play, as Bakuna plays it down the line for Hadayonai, and here is Kachunga wearing number 9 down the right hand side. Cavallero goes to ground to make the challenge. Eventually Johansson will bring it clear, and Kachunga comes back to try and win it back for Huddersfield, and in the end Bakuna has done so. Now Kachunga finding Grant, who tries to turn beyond Mawson, but the challenge very quickly comes in by Bryan, and Cavallero and Bryan will be able to clear down the left hand side, but only as far as Hogg. And here is Kachunga wide towards Hadayonai once again. Bakuna takes over, and the Huddersfield crowd looking for their side to be a bit more proactive and move the ball forward, but at the moment the formation we talked about before the game is leaving the forward players rather isolated.
Yeah, it's hard to get support in there, as you say. I thought he caught him there, but yeah, Grant and Mitrovic have found it hard to get into the game.
Now an opportunity for Hadayonai to come forward. His cross was deflected into the path of O'Brien, and it almost falls inside the penalty area for Grant, but he just miscontrols at the vital moment, and Fulham will clear. And here is Johansson wide towards the left hand side. The Huddersfield bench looking for a free kick following an earlier challenge, but Cavallero's Ball right-footed towards the edge of the penalty area, just bounces beyond Knockaert and into the arms of Grabara.
Yeah, very difficult ball for Cavallero. You could see what he's trying to do. He cut inside. You could see Knockaert making that run from out to in, but on this greasy surface, he was always going to skid through to Grabara. At the other end, we've just mentioned that Grant hadn't had much service, but it's a fantastic ball into him, and his touch has to be better. When you're not getting too much service, you've got to make it stick, and it just ran away from him. So he'll be disappointed with that. But yeah, both centre forwards are quite isolated. When balls are going into them, there's not too much around them, but you still have to think if Mitrovic gets a chance. He's lethal in the Premier League. I thought he's brilliant, but when he got Fulham promoted the season before last, he was top draw at this level.
Well, he got 12 in 20, and he was the missing link to transform a side from being mid-table fodder into promotion contenders and promotion winners. And he scored 11 goals last season in a pretty poor Fulham side, which was a decent record. And it just makes you wonder why he didn't do it at Newcastle.
Yeah, I feel that when he was at Newcastle, Benitez didn't trust him, and maybe he was trying to be a bit too all action, risked the red card, where I felt he channeled his aggression to perfection, linked up play, occupied two centre halves at times. I watched him a good few times, and I thought, against a Wolves back three that had done very, very well. Mitrovic ran the show at Craven Cottage. Then in the Premier League, he ran the show against them as well, and that's why Schindler and Elphick have got to be right up for it today, because if he bullies people, links up play. But yeah, it just didn't happen from at Newcastle, but it has for Fulham.
It's been given away cheaply by Arter, and here is Grant now bursting towards the edge of the penalty area, wide towards the left-hand side, and Pritchard, free wait for the cross. Can Pritchard deliver? Turns back onto his right foot, and now Congolo with a long cross into the penalty area, which is headed away by Ream, and Pritchard will allow the ball to bounce away, and in the end it's helped behind by Sessegnon, and Huddersfield have the game's first corner with 23 minutes played, and it's goalless on TalkSport.
It's good defending from Steven Sessegnon, because he's against Pritchard. He knows he's in the box, he's on a yellow card, but he marshalled him well. Ball back to Congolo, whipped in, but good defending again. But now we've seen him defend a free kick, but they've got to defend a set piece. A bit semi-zonal, isn't it? Man to man, a little bit zonal as well. Let's see who shows the most desire.
Pritchard will take the corner, and it will be an in-swinger, and again Huddersfield have their three tallest players waiting at the far post. It's in towards the near post area, and Ream is able to head the ball away. Now O'Brien just nods it back towards Havayonai, who is the final outfield player for Huddersfield. He finds Grabara, who clears downfield, but rather gets too much air on the clearance, and it loops high into the sky, drops on halfway, and Fulham regather. Arter quickly forward towards Mitrovic, appeals for handball as he controls, and eventually the referee had a long look at that and gives the decision against the Serb.
Yeah, and Harry Arter's having a moan at him, but I think everybody in the ground thought that was handball. I'm surprised he took so long to give the decision, but end of the day he's come to the correct decision. I think it's just because of the delay is why then he's getting the few protests from the Fulham players. But going back to how Fulham defend from set pieces, yeah, they've got a few, the likes of Ream and that along the edge of the six, haven't they? Then the rest of the players are picking up man to man. But that ball into the area, good header from Ream. But it was definitely a handball from Mitrovic. He was only the one arm, but it's definitely hit his arm for me.
Don't forget, game day coming up across the TalkSport network tomorrow on TalkSport. 3 commentary games coming up as Johansson plays it forward towards Cavallero, and it's scooped wide towards the far side. On TalkSport tomorrow, 12:30, Rajmin Chowdhury will bring you Arsenal against Burnley with Sam Matterface and the team. Then Adrian Durham has all the goals as they go in with Game Day Live, and I'll be alongside Stuart Pearce at the Etihad, looking forward to Manchester City against Spurs at 5:30. As Kachunga comes forward now down the right-hand side, a low-driven cross in, ricochets off Ream and goes behind for a corner.
Good play there, and that all came from a really nice clean strike from Grabara. Some of his kicking earlier, as you said, have been a little bit floaty, not as clean, but that was a nice drill out. Kachunga uses his body well, but I think the combination down this right-hand side of Kachunga and Hadergenai has been excellent. They've overlapped, they've linked with each other, really good energy levels, and a good play again to turn that long kick into what's going to be another corner. And again, some of the big guns, they've got some serious height, haven't they, there, Huddersfield, coming up. The likes of Schindler, Elphick, Congolo's a big boy. So this is, again, so if you can put that good delivery in, and then it's about desire, who can get on the end of it.
Pritchard will take it this time. right-footed. It will be an outswinger with 26 minutes played. 0-0 on TalkSport 2. Pritchard's corner into the near post, and it was Congolo who made the run across that near post area. And there was a deflection of Congolo and Ream, and the home crowd were convinced it should have been a corner, but a goal kick has been given.
Yeah, you just watch when this corner starts. Congolo is marked by Cavallero. One, an absolute mismatch height-wise, but two, Cavallero has not got that defensive mentality, and he ends up about 5-6 even more yards away from him. It's hard to see. I think it has come off Congolo, and then Rice Mile would say that. So good officiating, but that would concern me. If I am Fulham and I've got Cavallero marking Congolo for corners, that doesn't seem right to me.
On game day on TalkSport 2 tomorrow, League One action at 12:30, a repeat of the playoff semi-final. Two big clubs in the third tier, Sunderland against Portsmouth, live from the Stadium of Light. Norwich against Newcastle, with Ian Danter in the team, is the commentary game at 3, followed by the full-time phony with Adrian Durham at 5. All the reaction from around the country, plus the first chance for you to have your say on how your team did. As Kachunga controls well down the right-hand side. Just losing out to Brian, though, who then goes all the way back towards Marcus Bettinelli, who was used sparingly by Fulham due to injury and selection issues last season. As Brian seemed to run the ball out of play on this near side, Jan Siebert was absolutely convinced as he balls out towards the assistant referee on this near side, but Huddersfield had the ball back anyway.
They showed plenty of passion, but my initial thought was the whole ball wasn't out. I thought most of it was, but not the whole ball. The linesman is in a fantastic position, but I think even that reaction there, I know you want everything, you show passion, but it's a real bit of an overreaction, I think, for in such a threatening area.
28 minutes played, 0-0 at the John Smith Stadium as Pritchard, occupying a central area, pirouettes to evade Tom Kearney. Now finds Grant. Kachunga to his right-hand side. Hadayonai is offering the width further forward. Now O'Brien joins in again, and Kachunga has seen plenty of the ball, but very rarely has he been given the opportunity to get in behind. But Pritchard might do so now. Fires the ball into the penalty area, and it seems to strike Alfie Mawson in a rather delicate area, and it spins away for a corner.
And we always laugh, but as men know that
yeah, we wouldn't be laughing if it happened to us.
Exactly, and I know it hurts. Trust me, playing in goal, it hurts. Nothing you can do for him there. But Pritchard, as you say, he's come in from that left-hand side. Now he's finding those little pockets. Very intelligent turn there. Still not sure that a shot was the right selection, because he had some options in the middle, but really, really good. And the third corner now that they got to defend. And let's see who Cavallero marks this time. He's going for Schindler this time.
Mawson eventually gets back to his feet, but you can empathise with his pain. Pritchard will take the corner. Huddersfield against Fulham in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL. Pritchard looking for an option nearer him, but then he drives it high across the penalty area, and it's an awful penalty. 3 bounces straight out of play on the far side, an awful corner rather, and it's a throw-in.
And you can see what they were trying to work there. So on the edge of the box was Schindler and who's the other player? Elphick were on the edge of the box, and marking them was Arter and Cavallero. They were trying to work a block, drop that ball into their spot, knowing that there's a real height mismatch, and that's what Pritchard was aiming for. But he totally overhears, you say, went near enough out the area and went out for a throw-in. But he was trying to drill it into that second 6-yard box area where one of those big centre-halves was going to get a run on it. So you can see what they're trying to do, and that really would concern me if I was in the Fulham coaching staff. I think there's some serious height mismatches, and also like mentality mismatches, if you like, because strikers do not stop big centre-halves from attacking balls. Mitrovic, yes, but not a Cavallero.
Now Cavallero released by Brian on this near side, but the ball will again gather pace off the surface and scoot behind for a goal kick to Huddersfield Town. Of course, they were relegated with 16 points last season, and 5 of the last 6 sides to be relegated from the top division with 20 points or fewer have ended August of the following season in the bottom half of the table. That sense of failure can linger for some time. Now Kachunga jabs it forward looking for O'Brien, but it's cut out well by Mawson, who was very alert to the danger there. Sessegnon wide towards the far side, and Knockaert, who's not seen too much of the ball for Fulham so far. Anthony Knockaert has a very good record against Huddersfield, 5 goals and 4 assists in 8 appearances, but much of Fulham's more productive players coming down the left-hand side as it's given away cheaply by Mawson. And now the early ball forward again will look for O'Brien and Grant down the centre, but this time Mawson recovers, and here is Mitrovic twisting and turning inside the centre circle, and he's been clipped by Hogg, and it will be a free kick. And then he turns around, Jonathan Hogg, and says to his defenders, where were you?
Yeah, he's having a moan at Schindler there, as you say, but Mitrovic, from his point of view, fantastic hold-up play for a big man, and then buys a free kick. But I think as well Hogg's maybe frustrated because when Huddersfield are winning the ball back, Huddersfield are just giving it straight back to them, and the transition is where they've got to, they've got to hurt this side more, because Fulham can be very expansive.
And I'm staying at the hotel which Fulham were using this afternoon, and Alexander Mitrovic wandered past me in the lobby earlier on, and footballers often look different out of kit in their civvies, but in the flesh, if you like, he is absolutely massive.
He's a big boy, yeah. A lot of these lads are big lads, and they're very, very strong, but Mitrovic also knows how to use his body well, but he's still a relatively young man as well.
Now Sessegnon, a good ball wide down the right-hand side to find Knockaert, who has it in stride, cuts in field, but the shot cutting in left-footed was blocked by Congolo. Congolo seemed to be caught then as he tried to join in with Pritchard midway inside the Huddersfield half, and it will be a free kick for the home side. And a fleeting glimpse there of Anthony Knockaert in an attacking sense.
Yeah, I thought Congolo marshalled him really well. He showed him on the outside, then he tried to come inside, and he marked, really, really well, matching stride for stride. Because when you're a big guy like that, who naturally plays centre half, to be in those wide positions can be difficult. But he moves his feet well. Then when he goes to break, Knockaert thought, I don't fancy this one, and pulled him back, and could have got a yellow card. But yeah, that was what Fulham want to do. They want to get Knockaert in those positions. But that time, 1-0 at the moment to Congolo with a defending.
33 minutes played, 0-0. More live action coming up on Sunday on TalkSport 2 from the Championship. A noon start at the Madejski for Reading against Cardiff, followed by Super League action, Holkingston Rovers against the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. And don't forget, game day tomorrow on TalkSport, Arsenal against Burnley at 12:30. Game day live with all the goals as they go in with Adrian Durham from 2:30 until 5, and then Laura Woods takes over, and I'll be alongside Stuart Pearce at the Etihad for Manchester City against Tottenham. And here on 2, Sunderland against Pompey, Norwich against Newcastle, and then the full-time phone-in with Adrian Durham. 34 minutes played. It is Huddersfield Town 0, Fulham 0, and it's beginning to look like a game which needs a goal.
It does need a goal big time, and again, I don't want to dig him out, but Bakuna, unforced error. They've had a nice little passage of play, Huddersfield, they pass it side to side, working it, then you've got to try and thread the ball, break the lines, and then they just zing the ball well out of play. It's nowhere near his intended target. But that's what I'm thinking. I don't know what's going on here, Nigel. I usually come to these games for you guys, and there's goal after goal, chance after chance, but I can't think of a serious save that either keeper's had to make yet.
Fulham had a couple of early efforts. The shot from Cavallero, which just snaked wide of the far post, and basically that's it. As Christopher Schindler goes all the way back towards Kamil Grabara, and it's a long right-footed clearance from him. It was looking for Hadayonai, but headed away well by Joe Bryan, and now Cavallero looks to go beyond Bakuna on this near side. It seemed that Cavallero had the run of him, but then stopped and checked back, and Fulham will look to get at least a free kick anyway, as Johansson was caught right in front of the Fulham technical area, and the referee has he given the free kick? I think he has.
Maybe, or the throw-in. I don't think it was a foul. I think there's a challenge on, and I think, is it Hogg, is it? He just catch, maybe actually. It's a bit of a sore one, but I think he's given a throw-in. But Hogg did look to catch Johansson a little bit on the shin, but it's just been, I think both teams haven't been as good as you'd expect in possession. So is that the opposition are pressing well and forcing it? But I think it's more like that ball there that Brian's just tried just a wild slash at it.
Well, Congolo's clearance almost found Mitrovic, and then it nearly breaks to Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area as Knockaert challenges Schindler. And Huddersfield here, thanks to that original error from Terence Congolo, have given Fulham a throw-in about 20 yards from the corner flag on this near side. It's then slashed high into the air by Kachunga, regathered by Arter, square towards Kearney. Kearney checks back in field towards traffic and finds Arter, who was caught by O'Brien, and it will be a free kick for Fulham, 30 yards out in the central area.
Yeah, so quite a dangerous area, and probably too far, as you say, to shoot. But this is where you can get bodies up, work something clever, get a good delivery in. Definite foul there from O'Brien. I saw one there for Arter. I think the referee, all in all, he's had a good game. I think he had no choice but to book Sessegnon. But apart from that, he's done well and tried to keep his cards in his pocket, because there's a bit of a yelp there from Arter. But this goal, as you say, needs either a really good chance, but a goal would just bring it to life. And I think for two ex-Premier League teams, you've only just been relegated. I think the quality, I think both teams will feel that in possession have been careless.
Well, the key part of that sentence is they were relegated.
Well relegated as well. You know what I mean? They weren't even close, were they, to staying up?
Now Caballero coming in field from the left-hand side for Fulham, finding Sessegnon, who drives a ball wide to the right, and it's a good one. Knockaert comes in field, a high cross towards the far post. Mitrovic was looking to bring the ball down on his chest, but it's headed away by Elphick. But Mitrovic applauding the cross as Elphick heads it behind for a corner.
Yeah, and Arter's got two hands up in the air. Johansson, two hands up in the air, so whatever signal that is. But yeah, Mitrovic appealed to the back post. Still feel that Knockaert's was a little bit floated across, but good defending from Elphick. And is this Fulham's first corner?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so let's see what they're working with this signal. Two hands up.
38 minutes played, 0-0. Johansson will take the corner, and it's driven in, takes a deflection off Pritchard at the near post, headed clear as far as Bryan, and now back towards Arter, who scoops a high ball in looking for Mitrovic, and it's headed away by Schindler. And Mitrovic there was looking to pounce, and Schindler did his job, but as Huddersfield looked to break, the passing is poor. Here is Mawson now for Fulham. Kearney taking over, threads it wide towards Mitrovic, infield again towards Knockaert, who goes down following a challenge from Schindler, looking for a free kick, but again nothing is given by the referee, and Hogg looks to spread the play for Huddersfield. Bakuna down the far side, the left, and as O'Brien looked to try and come in field, he runs into Arter, and Fulham win the ball back. But that passage of play really is a microcosm of the whole game so far. Some decent moments, but overall a lack of quality.
Yeah, lack of quality and unforced errors, isn't it? Just giving the ball back too easily, and then when there is that transition, not being clinical and just giving it straight back, and that's how the game's been. But that header from Schindler when he was backpedaling that ball in, that was a vital touch, because Mitrovic was right in behind him in the width of the goal.
Now Pritchard has given the ball away to Arter, but on the stretch he can't keep hold of it, and here is Bakuna for Huddersfield, but a ball down the centre was straight between Kachunga and Grant, and Fulham will be able to clear the ball away, and you can hear one or two moans and groans from the home supporters around us, because they've been with their side so far, but it's just been a poor game.
Yeah, and they expect better from that. Again, Bakuna's got time. You can see what he's trying to do, but he's missed his target by a long way. And if you're going to play, this is a team that expects to be top of the championship, top six minimum. When you play against Fulham, who are good on the ball, and you work hard to win it back, you can't just turn it over like that. Otherwise you end up getting really, really tired as a team, because you spend a lot of time about the ball. And I'm sure that Jan Sievert at half-time will have some incidents clipped up, and just say sometimes keep it a little bit more simple, feel your way back into the game, but we've got to make our possession count more than that.
At the moment, and it's very early days, I know every game is decisive one way or the other in the modern day media. That's the way it is. It's modern day football, but Huddersfield do not have the look of a top six side, do they?
You're seeing Kachunga looks lively, Adeyemi getting forward well, but I still feel, as you say, that end product isn't there. The turnover of play is too much, and I do think they look a few players short from the early games I've seen of them. They do look a team void of confidence, and that bit of real quality.
Now Knockaert coming forward for Fulham, comes in field, and it's a good ball to pick out Johansson, who quickly transfers it to the left-hand side, and Cavallero, who attacks the penalty area and finds Bryan. The low cross is pulled up by the goalkeeper, and it plopped up in the air inside the 6-yard area before Huddersfield eventually clear, and then the free kick is given for the challenge on Kachunga by Cavallero. But again, it was decent play by Fulham until the final ball.
Yeah, they get into a good area. I think it's good goalkeeping, but that's again combination play. Combination play from the fullback and the winger. Cavallero lays it into him, strike across, strong hands there from Grabara, but still, that's probably our most meaningful moment of goalkeeping, if you like. Grabara had a hairy moment, didn't he, when he palmed that ball to the edge of the box. Ended up with those opportunities, but at least good bit of combination play. But still, I think got to go hard and low and really look to nestle it in that bottom corner.
Well, it will go down as a shot on target from Joe O'Brien, and Fulham have had the only 2 shots on target in the game so far, as O'Brien looks to lay it wide on the far side for Huddersfield, but it's Sessegnon who nips in with a challenge to just ensure that Pritchard goes no further, and it will be a throw-in for the home side on the far side. 3 minutes to play in the first half. It is Huddersfield Town 0, Fulham 0, and the team that can't win are drawing 0-0 against the side that can't score away.
There we go. But are you not surprised that maybe Huddersfield haven't tried to get the ball to Pritchard more and say get at Sessegnon?
Yeah, there has to be some sort of game plan as Fulham come forward now with Mitrovic down the right-hand side. He's got Kearney in support on the right corner of the penalty area. Kearney goes square to pick out Cavallero. Bryan provides the width down the left, stays onside, volleys the cross way beyond everybody. One bounce out of play.
Yeah, way beyond is an understatement, isn't it? Again, but it's a difficult ball for him to deal with Cavallero, but once he brings it under control, in respect, Joe, we saw Joe Bryan at Bristol City, and he's playing the Premier League for Fulham. A bit more composure there, make the right choice. But what I was thinking about with Pritchard, young Sessegnon, 15 minutes in, yellow card, league debut. Pritchard is tricky, he's already got him, but go and get the ball to him, get at him, run at him, try and work the switch. So credit to Fulham, they protected him well. Credit to young Sessegnon, he's dealt with Pritchard well whenever he has come at him. But I still think that Scott Parker's going to say, we need to get you on the ball more, Tom Kearney, and for Huddersfield, they need to get the likes of Pritchard in more dangerous areas and creating things.
Cavallero tries to nudge it wide towards Kearney on the right, but it's cleared away by Pritchard up and over the halfway line. But Mawson just sticks out a leg there, and it ricochets off his thigh and goes out for a throw into Huddersfield. And the problem for Huddersfield is what you said before the game. The attacking players are too far apart. You might as well play 4-2-3-1 rather than 4-3-3, and at least try and get more going down the middle. Yeah, going down the middle, finding those pockets, getting the balls into them, fullbacks overlapping. But at the moment, you say Grant is so isolated. He has hardly had a touch, hardly had a kick, not brought people into play. Every time it has come into him, that one ball into the box sort of bounced away from him. But Grant will think, I've got 2 goals this season, both from penalties, but he hasn't really had much service, has he? And if he can get balls and people in and around him, dislodge this back 4, if you like, he should be able to create chances. Bryan coming forward now, released by Cavallero down the left, back towards Cavallero again, square to Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area. Mitrovic was cleaned out by Schindler, but Fulham will continue, and it's Arter finding Sessegnon down the right, and it's Knockaert again with an opportunity to come in field onto his left foot. Congolo with the challenge, but it's Arter who strikes it left-footed low into a forest of legs, and it ricochets away off Jonathan Hogg, and it's another Fulham corner.
Yeah, corner, and this is right at the end of the half. So if Fulham were to score now, massive moment for the team. Huddersfield really don't want to concede at home just before half time. So well worked play, good defending again from Congolo, good strike, but you've got to see this out now if you're the defensive side.
There'll be a minimum of 1 added minute, and the corner swung into the penalty area by Knockaert. Mawson was shaping for the header at the far post, but got underneath the ball, and it spins harmlessly behind, and it will be a goal kick. And that's the cue for many people around us in the main stand here at the John Smiths to head towards the concourses and the corporate boxes, because look, we have to say it like we see it, it's been terrible.
Well, they're not going to be. I'd be very surprised if they missed anything. And that corner there, getting whipped in, plenty of patient knockout. Good defending from Kachunga, just sort of ease Mawson out of it. But I think that sort of summed up what's happened. So I think both managers will come in and say, nowhere near it, lads, got to improve.
Well, that is half-time. Muted applause all around the stadium. Huddersfield Town gave it a go in the early stages, but a lack of creativity has really hampered their progress. Fulham marginally have been better going forward. Joe Bryan's shot fisted away by Kamil Grabara close to half-time, the closest we've seen to anything like a goal, and that was a pretty wayward effort. And Huddersfield Town, a side without a win so far this season, without a shot on target as the home side so far. At half-time, it is very much 0-0. Thank you, Dan. Second half is underway. Huddersfield in their blue and white stripes, playing from right to left. And interestingly, looking at Scott Parker as his team kicked off for the start of the second half, he was making the hand movements to suggest he wants his team to be more compact, to tuck in and maybe be more of a solid force in the second half. Yeah, probably out of possession, be more compact, don't get played through. And then when they win it back, then you do see these Fulham teams, they only seem to know to play one way. I'm sure Scott Parker as well coming with that sort of modern mentality, if you like, and the footballing education he's had at the clubs he's been at, the way he was as a player. Of course he was combative, but he was still a very good footballer. But out of possession, stay compact, don't get played through, force the errors, press them, and then come and win it back. But I'm sure both managers were expecting a lot better in this half. The Huddersfield team again, Grabara in goal, Hadayonai, Elphick, Schindler and Congolo the back four, Bakuna, Hogg and O'Brien in midfield, Kachunga, Grant and Pritchard across the top. For Fulham, Bettinelli in goal, Sessegnon, Mawson, Ream and Bryan, Kearney, Arter and Johansson, Knockaert, Mitrovic and Caballero. And on the bench there are a number of attacking players for Huddersfield. Kwana, Van La Parra, Mounier are possibilities. Abubakar Kamara is awaiting his opportunity for Fulham, and Bobby Reid as well is somebody who could come on and maybe offer a threat in the game's latter stages. As Fulham come forward now, Mitrovic found inside the penalty area by Caballero, an excellent challenge initially, and then the rebound from Mitrovic whizzes over the top. That was a real chance.
Well, what a fantastic move, and it all started with an unbelievable pass out from Bettinelli. Went over, took a lot of Huddersfield players out from the press, good pace, great ball in from Caballero. We talked about that end product. Knockaert's there and saying for the rebound, could you have squared it to me? But I just don't know here. When the ball drops in, bang, left foot Mitrovic. But because he tries to open his right foot body, that allows the challenge to come in. Fantastic defending from, was it Schindler?
Schindler,
yeah. Brilliant defending, but good chance, better reaction there. But I still think Mitrovic, left foot, that he'd have definitely got a cleaner shot off there.
47 minutes played, 0-0 on TalkSport. Huddersfield yet to muster a shot on target in this game. So far this season, they were beaten live on TalkSport 2 here, 2-1 by Derby, a 1-1 draw at Queen's Park Rangers, in which they led until the closing moments, and then a 1-0 defeat here against Lincoln in the Carabao Cup. There were 10 changes, 7 debuts, and the team were booed off. As Kearney has plenty of room in which to turn for Fulham, but then rather checks back in the midfield area to find Johansson, and Tom Kearney's not really been able to influence the game so far.
He hasn't, and that's where you want to see Tom Kearney. Brilliant bit of movement, get on the ball. Why does he play backwards? I think of Tom Kearney, usual Tom Kearney, drives forward and picks a pass there. I'm very surprised that he played back.
Now Knockaert goes down again, looking for a free kick. 2 or 3 times he's gone down theatrically, but now Bakuna's given the ball away to Johansson. Johansson drove towards the edge of the penalty area, and it seemed there that Elphick looked to make contact with Johansson with his right arm, right on the edge of the penalty area, but the referee, James Linnington, gave nothing.
Yeah, he let that go, but it came again. Bakuna just caught easily. It's like it's happened a bit too quick for him. I don't know if he feels he'll have options in front of him, but Bakuna's got to be careful.
Here is Sessegnon coming forward now down the right-hand side for Fulham. breaking into the penalty area on his league debut. Sessegnon turns away from Congolo, drives in the cross towards the near post, and it's cleared away by Schindler. Quickly won back though by Kearney, ahead of Pritchard on this near side, the Fulham right. Square towards Johansson, further on towards Arta in the central area. Now Mitrovic looking to twist and turn on the edge of the penalty area, and he had hold of Adeyona's shirt there, and that's why Huddersfield were given the free kick. Taken quickly by Bacuna, but then Grant is quickly robbed by Mawson, and Fulham here can break again with Cavallero. He steps infield, he was caught, but he's strong enough to play on and find Cavallero, right hand side of the penalty area, drives it in low, it's blocked by the legs of Grabara, and that's the best moment of the game so far by some distance.
Yeah, so again, unforced errors from Huddersfield, quick transition, but what brilliant play from Cavallero to stay on his feet, because he could have gone down, but it gives it to Knockout out wide. Good, he's shown outside. When you're shown outside, that's when the goalkeeper's got to stand big, got a big foot on it. Good save, but good play from Fulham.
Now Knockout coming forward again, his low shot, left-footed, spins across the penalty area, and it was deflected behind in the end off Hogg, and it's a Fulham corner. Good spell for them at the start of the second half. The corner's taken quickly. Kearney back towards Sessegnon on the edge of the penalty area. Now Arta square towards Ream as the penalty area begins to empty, and Fulham have not really made the most of this at the moment, but Bryan's high ball forward is gathered by Cavallero. Bacuna hooks it across the face of his own goal, and it's headed in by Mitrovic, and Fulham have the lead, and that's a goal which sums up Huddersfield's start to the season. Bacuna with a clearance, and it turned out to be an excellent cross for Mitrovic. He rose and scored, and Huddersfield's troubled start to the season continues.
Well, you could feel that coming, the pressure was coming. Bacuna has had too many turnovers of play, and the pressure's been building, and when you then hook a ball across your own goal like that, I mean, Mitrovic, unbelievable desire to get up above, I think it's Schindler there to head the ball home, but it's just a crazy moment. You thought Cavallero touched too heavy, but Bacuna, you couldn't cross a ball like that if you meant to, but that pressure had been coming. They come out of real intensity, a real belief, and now the Huddersfield fans could sense that was coming. Now let's see how they react. Let's see how these Huddersfield players react. But they've all looked around each other in disbelief. They can't believe what's come. But I think it's Tommy Elphick who's out, jumped in the back post, but nothing really could do. Great header from Mitrovic, but Bacuna will be very, very disappointed. He's had a tough evening, and that's really compounded it. How do they react now, the home side?
But the delivery of that ball across from Bacuna, as you say, he couldn't have done that if he'd tried to get from that area to get that much bend and dip. It was absolutely perfect for Mitrovic.
It was unreal, but fair play to Mitrovic to gamble on it, because you wouldn't expect that. But I feel sorry for Bacuna out there. He's giving the ball away again and again and again. He did it against Derby as well. You can see he's trying to get on the ball.
I think he'll be hooked soon. Chalobah's coming on.
It has to be, because sometimes you've got to look after the player. But how he did that ball, this is a top championship game apparently. These two teams are playing the Premier League. I don't know what he's doing there. Look, Cavallero looks like it was too heavy, but the player been coming at it. Knockout had gone on the outside. Good save on the foot of the goalkeeper Grabara. Then he come on the inside. Good block, but a lot was coming down this right hand side through Sessegnon, through Knockout. This is what Scott Parker wanted after his team talk, but that is a very, very bad mistake from Huddersfield, and big test now.
52 minutes played. Huddersfield Town 0, Fulham 1, and it's the Fulham supporters who've made the long journey up from London. The M1 really did resemble a car park at times today, but they're happy at the moment, and really it's the sort of game which looked like it would be broken open by an error, and it's come from Juninho Bacuna. That's an astonishing ball across his own penalty area.
Crazy. I haven't seen it. You've commentated on a lot of games, Nigel.
Never. Here is Knockout coming forward now again for Fulham. Down there, right hand side, a low ball across the penalty area, slid away by Elphick, and then O'Brien will knock it away only as far as Sessegnon, and you just get the feeling that the Huddersfield crowd here are really on the turn.
It's difficult, and look, when I used to play for Wolves, in the Championship, there was a high expectations, but that's when we had the likes of Dennis Irwin, Paul Ince, players like that to look at. No, I was young pup coming through, but it was me, Jolien coming through, Lee Naylor. But we had these experienced players to look at, and then they lifted us. They spoke to us in the dressing room. They never hide. They wanted the ball, and that's what got us through it. And at Christmas we were nowhere near it. We ended up getting promoted that season. And you're just looking, who's going to be the big characters out here for Fulham? Who's going to get on the ball? Who's going to make things happen for them? But it's been a very, very difficult night. And look, you call it, but you said that was coming, and not surprised.
Yeah, the first change. And it's Juninho Bacuna who comes off, and he gets a handshake from Christopher Schindler, and it's Trevor Chalobah who comes on. And you've got to feel sorry for Bacuna, because he looks absolutely shattered, because he knows he could have cost the team the game.
He does, and the first goal was massive, and you gutted for him, because he's a young lad. Do you say it's Bacuna's brother who plays for Cardiff? They're brothers. And
Leandro,
Leandro will be looking at him, and he'll feel for his brother, but he's gone out there, he hasn't hidden, he's got on the ball, but he's tried to do the right thing, but to hook it across like that was crazy. But now it's just another young player coming on. Had a loan spell at Ipswich. He was relegated last season. I worked with him for England, young player from Chelsea. How's he going to do? But he's not an experienced head that you might need out there, and this is where Fulham come into their own. They dominate the ball, they'll pass it around, they'll wait for someone to come out, and then they'll look to counter-attack, and they've got the players on who can put this game to bed. But what Huddersfield have to do is stay in the game now. You don't have to go and get an equaliser right now, but if they can see the second, could be very, very difficult.
54 minutes played, Sessegnon with an excellent ball, wide towards the far side, and now Cavallero can come forward down the Fulham left. He's got Bryan streaking on his outside on the overlap, but it's back in field towards Arter. Now Kearney again, Fulham's passing beginning to find its range, of the high ball in from Knockaert is fisted away by Grabara when it would have been easier to catch, and as a result Fulham will try and keep the forward momentum now with Bryan on the far side, and he's been penalised for a pullback on Kachunga, and Huddersfield have a free kick.
But even there, you look at the bench. So you got Scott Parker, very experienced player, inexperienced manager but experienced player. But he's got Stuart Gray with him, talking to him as well. He'll have had a chat with him. And looking at Jan Sievert, he's on his own. No one is up there talking to him. No one's helping him. And I always remember, again, when you play, you used to look to the side, you'd have Mick McCarthy, Terry Connor. They'd be talking, bouncing ideas off each other. Jan Sievert is there on his own. What's he getting fed to him? Can somebody else see something that he can't? But at this moment in time, that goalkeeping there, look, a very good young goalkeeper, but that's a sign of a young goalkeeper. You said it was easier to catch it than punch it. You catch it, relieve the pressure, but he punches it clear. And I just feel there's too many players out here who are struggling for confidence.
Now Hogg works it wide to the far side, and O'Brien, a high cross into the penalty area, and the header from Grant, and it's clawed away somehow by Bettinelli, but the goal has been given. Goal line technology says that crossed the line, and Carlon Grant scores Huddersfield Town's first goal from open play this season, and boy did they need that. Huddersfield Town 1, Fulham 1.
Wow, and you did not see that coming. You're just thinking how they're looking like they're lacking confidence. Grant has had no service at all. You will not see many better headers than this in the Championship all season. He is absolutely, he's going away from goal. Cross coming, decent cross. He's going away from goal to get the power in this. Going backwards to direct the ball. Bettinelli, it hits the post. It's hard to see how to see in a angle because it doesn't look like he's gone in, but it must have. The watch has gone off. But that is a fantastic header. He's fed off scraps all night, and those moments could change his season. Listen to the crowd. Brilliant header from Grant. Let's see how Huddersfield do now. Let's see what Fulham do. But what a header.
1-1, 57 minutes played, and the game has suddenly exploded into life. Carlon Grant has scored all three of Huddersfield's goals in the league. Well, all three of their goals so far this season, full stop. And just when it seemed that Fulham were about to take a firm grip on the game, Huddersfield Town are level. Knockaert infield towards Sessegnon, and here is Arter. And now Bryan for Fulham down the left-hand side. It's the ball slid in towards Mitrovic. It's cleared away by Chalobah, and Chalobah just screening the back four, wins it again, and then there's a foul on Grant by Mawson on the halfway line, and the former Barnsley man back in Yorkshire gets a yellow card.
Yeah, but really good play from Chalobah. Plays the ball in. Grant wants it, gets his body in there, buys a foul. Tell you what, it's nice as a team when you look up and you see a striker like this, because he hasn't sulked. He hasn't had many balls in, but he's made that goal. A decent cross, but fantastic header. Goals change games. Goals change momentum. It's the oldest saying, but it's true. I did not see that goal coming. All you saw was Fulham going to go and really take a stranglehold on it and go and score another one, but suddenly now the crowd are up, they're pressing, and Grant is the one leading it. But brilliant header. Chalobah's done well since he's come on, and now let's see if Fulham can get back to what they were doing, or if now, listen to the crowd, that does lift you when you're down there, and it makes you press. The players will run that bit more, and now they want to capitalise on this, and suddenly from a game that they looked like they were going to lose, they might go on and win this.
You're listening to Huddersfield against Fulham in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with our old friends Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL, as Fulham shuttle a ball across their own penalty area as they look for a way out, and eventually Sessegnon just nudges it out of play, and now the crowd are back on side, and Jan Sievert cutting a very different figure inside the technical area. Huddersfield were only behind for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but his demeanour's changed, doesn't he? He's saying he's trying to get the crowd up behind them. They can see the press is working. Pritchard goes, Congolo comes round, centre half comes across, they knock the ball out of play. All the things that they weren't doing. But
we're just watching the goal decision system again, and the ball was clearly over the line.
That's why I like the technology, because it's right. But I don't think in normal time we would have seen that.
No.
But the referee, his trust is and no one argues then. Nobody argues. But this, to get into the Premier League is huge. This is people's jobs at stake as well. That header had gone in. That young man deserves it, because it's a fantastic header, and that now could change the whole context of this game.
And now an opportunity for Fulham at the other end. It's Knockaert striding through, and Grabara dives at his feet to make an excellent save. Here is Mitrovic now looking to wrestle his way into the penalty area down the left, and he's done well to stay on his feet initially. It breaks to Cavallero, and the ball spins away off him as Chalobah makes the challenge, and it's a goal kick. But Fulham there should be 2-1 ahead.
Yeah, so centre halves coming out. Really good play from Fulham. One touch play, but Kearney into was it into Johansson, and then Johansson just fed Knockaert, but the keeper's done so well because the pace is on the ball. He's just able to come down, narrow the angle. You talk about your blocking process. You think, I can get right on it, I'm going to make myself as big as possible. Is that wall of yellow, and again that will settle that young man down, because he's had a few nervy moments, but that's a big save. He made a big save against Derby, but unfortunately for him, his team weren't able to build on it. But that is a fantastic save, and Knockaert just overran a little bit, didn't it, that pass, because the greasy surface closed down by the keeper. But good play from Fulham, but great goalkeeping from Grabara.
61 minutes played. Huddersfield Town 1, Fulham 1 on the home of the EFL. TalkSport 2 as Huddersfield again eager for possession deep inside the Fulham half, but they've given the ball away. Here is Arta, wide towards Johansson. The referee though has blown the whistle as two players square up to each other, Arta and Kachunga. It's a yellow card for the Huddersfield Town man.
Yeah, he just has sore one on the back of his Achilles. What did you say this game needed? A goal. We got it, and suddenly
got 2 goals.
Yeah, but as soon as he got that one goal, it just came to life, didn't it? Fulham came out with a real intensity, if you like, and since then it's opened up more. We're seeing more quality, a few tackles going in, the crowd are up. But this is what we expect from the Championship. This is what we expect from two teams that have got a lot of Premier League players on show. But that goalkeeping there, just when you've got back into the game, that had been a goal then from Knockaert, would have sucked all of the confidence back out. But big save from Grabara.
Now Mawson finding Ream, and Fulham look to build from the back again. Arta wide towards Bryan, who has the presence of mind to step in field. But Huddersfield here are much more advanced. Chalobah almost playing as a number 10 now behind Grant, and as a result they have more bulk and more creativity going forward. But here is Cavallero down the left hand side for Fulham. Now Kearney takes over in the central area. Sessegnon Wide to his right is Knockaert, and Knockaert now receives as he breaks into the penalty area down the right-hand side. Square back towards Sessegnon. Arter on towards Kearney as Fulham look to pick the passes here and pick their moment. Cavallero fires in the shot, which was blocked by Elphick and scrambled away by O'Brien to the far side. Kachunga tried to keep the ball in play but can't do so, and Fulham have a throw-in.
Yeah, some good passage play though from Fulham, probing, switching it side to side, but credit Huddersfield, people coming out, no gaps and getting the blocks in, but good play.
Cavallero delivers a cross in, and he was fouled as he did so. The home crowd with some ironic cheering as they believe that Cavallero had knocked the ball straight behind, but he was caught as he delivered the cross, and Fulham here have a free kick in a dangerous area.
Yeah, you don't want to invite too much pressure, and they've got some good deliverers of the ball. Looks like Arter and Cavallero will be over there. If you're in goal here, when you get that in-swinging one, it's horrible. You know, it's whipped in towards you. You have to wait for it to beat bodies. The takers usually aim for that back stick. You know, you got bodies coming across, you're getting across your eye line. Just watching it here as Cavallero goes to do it. Do you think anyone's touched him there? That's a very strange one.
Jonathan Hogg who was closest to him. Not sure there was too much in that. With the free kick played by Johansson, high towards the far post. Ream knocks it back into the penalty area. Half-hearted appeals for handball from the Fulham players as Grant looked to bring it clear, but it's controlled by Arter, and he goes all the way back towards Bettinelli. Don't forget, game day across the TalkSport network tomorrow on TalkSport at 12:30. Well, they start at 11. Rajmin Chowdhury with Arsenal against Burnley. Sam Matterface on commentary in that game. And all the goals as they go in, with Adrian Durham at 2:30, and Stuart Pearce will join me at the Etihad at 5:30 for Manchester City against Spurs. Laura Wood's in the chair, and she will bring you the verdict at the end of that game at 7:30. Here on 2, League One action at 12:30. Sunderland against Pompey. Norwich against Newcastle is the exclusive Premier League commentary at 3 that Adrian Durham will have the full-time phone in, and all the reaction you need from 5 o'clock as Fulham win another free kick in Huddersfield territory with 65 minutes played, and it's 1-1 at the John Smith Stadium.
So the ref just having a little word with Hogg there, is it?
He's walking a rather dangerous path, Jonathan Hogg, at the moment, isn't he?
Is that for persistent fouling?
Yeah.
Just saying, yeah, one more and you're in the book, so he doesn't want that. But I think Fulham is still looking good in possession. But that goal has definitely changed things and lifted this Huddersfield side, and that's what we asked about confidence, how they'd react if they went behind. There was concern for them, but they have reacted well. But then since the equaliser, I think Fulham has still got back to doing what they can do, and Kearney's still coming a little bit too deep for me. You know, he's not making things happen as high up the pitch, getting on the ball more there.
But Kearney with a brilliant ball forward now. Here is Cavallero breaking into the penalty area down the left-hand side, squared towards Mitrovic, unable to get the ball onto his left foot, challenged by Schindler. Sessegnon takes over, back towards Kearney again, now wide towards Johansson on the right-hand side. He comes in field, a left-footed cross high to the far post, and it's nodded behind by Kachunga, and it will be a corner for Fulham, and they'll believe they should have made it 2-1.
Yeah, good opportunity, and Kearney is dropping deep, he's getting on the ball, but what he's doing, he's getting on the ball more. I just felt in the first half Kearney wasn't really getting on it. I still think that Fulham would like to see him more in and around the box, but at least he's getting on it, making things happen. Good opportunities, but that final ball not quite there, but good defending I suppose from Huddersfield, but Mitrovic, he thought there was going to get a shot off.
Cavallero will take the corner on the far side with 66 minutes played. 1-1 on TalkSport 2. Arter flicks it on towards the edge of the penalty area, and now Knockaert tries to just drift a curling shot in left-footed into the 6-yard area, but Grabara able to make a comfortable claim.
Yeah, but I think there's nothing wrong now with him. Just, I know the crowd are getting a little bit, a few groans there, but Fulham have had a lot of play, had a lot of pressure. Just take the sting out of the game. Hold the ball, get that ball at pitch, pick up the second balls, because Fulham at the moment are in the ascendancy. But Knockaert, he's getting on the ball more. He can go either way, so hard to stop.
Now Kachunga plays an excellent ball wide to the far side and had a Yonai, but it's Kearney who steps in to intercept as O'Brien looked to shoot on the edge of the Fulham penalty area. He slides it forward towards Cavallero, in towards Mitrovic, who was caught there by Schindler as he tried to lay it back into the path of Cavallero, and the Huddersfield captain will be fortunate here to escape a yellow card.
He will, and I'm sure Mawson will say, hang on a minute, when I stepped in on the halfway line and I made my challenge, you booked me, So why aren't you booking Schindler there? Because Mitrovic should be buzzing if that centre half had a yellow, because he'd be right up against him, rolled around. He's not hurt at all. But Kearney again. Kearney's on the ball now. It was Kearney tracking back, but when he gets it, drives out. Kearney is the one making this Fulham team tick.
Caballero down the right-hand side, infield again towards Arta. Appeals for handball mainly from the crowd, not given. Now Johansson just works it wide towards the left-hand side again, and Caballero, he cuts square in the penalty area, and Sessegnon in space again, finding Knockaert, who can attack the penalty area. He's found Sessegnon, driven in, and it came off the post, and it's cleared away in the end as far as Arta. Arta fires it in left-footed into the crowd, blocked by Chalobah. Ream now plays a high ball in towards the edge of the box again. Knockaert slips as he looks to evade Congolo, and Congolo then pushes him into the advertising hoardings, and a throw-in's been given.
Yeah, I don't think that's a foul. I think he's a bit strong and eases him out of it, but it's not nice to knock out there. But I don't know if that hit the post or was a good strong hand from Grabara, because again, on the next goalkeeper you're talking about it, I thought Sessegnon was going to cross that. So then when he tries to squeeze it in the near post, if he meant that is a really good save. Or it's hit the post. I'd love to see a replay, but what is good is good combination play. Talking about Knockaert, Sessegnon, underlap, good desire, and this young man, booked after 15 minutes, he's done really, really well on his on his league debut, in and out of possession.
69 minutes played on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. It's 1-1 at the John Smith Stadium as Mitrovic loses out to Schindler. Kachunga will try and come forward down the right for Huddersfield, but it's quickly cut out, and there's no doubt that Fulham are in the ascendancy now, and the quality of their football is much improved. As Caballero has been caught by Hogg, and it will be a free kick to Fulham. The home crowd not happy at the award, but Fulham take it quickly, maybe too quickly, because they had no real options, and as a result it's given away, and back with Grabara wearing all yellow, defending the Huddersfield goal away to our right hand side. The rain has now ceased, but it's a fairly chilly night in West Yorkshire for the middle of August.
It doesn't feel like summer, does it?
No. Very autumnal.
It's a good word, that. I'm going to look it up in the dictionary. It's something to do with autumn, I take it.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
Well done.
We don't use that in the dressing room. We didn't used to use that. We didn't used to walk out to train and say, "Oh, it's very autumnal today."
Well, if somebody did, you go, careful, look at him. 70 minutes played, 1-1.
I want to see that effort again on the replay. I don't know if it was a strong left hand or it hit the post, but good opportunity anyway.
Now Pritchard going down as he was challenged by Kearney, but the referee is happy for play to continue. Terence Congolo finding Chalobah, but it's a poor ball from him straight towards Mitrovic, who turns and bears down on the Huddersfield goal. He's been clipped by Hogg, and he surely won't escape a card this time. He doesn't, and the Huddersfield midfielder is booked.
Well, he thought, you know what, you're going to do me for totting up anyway, so I might as well just do a challenge. It would just be a yellow on its own. But he had two defenders there, but he could see that Mitrovic was driving, he was committing the defenders. Now it's a free kick in a dangerous situation, but that is cynical. Is that the word we'd use?
Yeah,
he certainly knew what he was doing there. Took one for the team, but now they've got to defend this. But there was Chalobah that time giving the ball away, and then the transition was there. Earlier when Huddersfield had a transition, O'Brien played the ball just behind Kachunga, and I watched Sievert. He was so frustrated, but this is a very, very dangerous situation. If they're going to shoot, you want players following in, or maybe they're going to work something clever.
Fulham have not scored more than twice away from home since October the 20th last year, but they're pushing hard for the second goal here. Knockaert free kick, high to the far post. Mawson controls inside the penalty area. He's onside, and it's his cross, which in the end is deflected into the side netting for a corner.
Yeah, well worked. You could see Mawson there, but I thought it was just over hit. But what a fantastic touch! And then swivels, and the ball's deflected behind us. And now it's a corner. You can feel that pressure. When they got that first goal, you can feel the pressure coming. In the end, it was a Huddersfield error. But Huddersfield now, they have to stand strong. They have to show that desire and try and stem this flow. There's this red flow.
Knockaert's corner, high into the area. Kachunga rises to clear. Nodded back into the box by Johansson. Mitrovic rising, and he's been done for pushing. And he will claim there were three players around him. He was on his own. He's the one who gets penalised.
Yeah, I think I think the referee's giving it there. We'll watch the replay, but I think it was for maybe using Hogg as a little bit of a, put his hands on him and use him as a bit as a back, you see, to hold him down. So though there are bodies around him, he's pinned him down. Didn't argue too much, but Mitrovic seems like he's got that bit between his teeth. He really, really fancies it now. Fulham are playing very, very well. Really are, and look like they're going to get one. But at this moment in time, Huddersfield are showing that desire.
Congolo with the ball down the channel, left-hand side, and the goalkeeper comes, then retreats. Here is Grant with a high cross into the penalty area, and it's beyond Kachunga at the far post, but he's quick enough to recover. He's challenged by Bryan, and it's gone behind for a corner to Huddersfield, a rare corner for them in the second half.
Yeah, what a good outlet Grant is. He's got that great header there. He chased really a nothing ball, ended up recognising could be some trouble, gets on the end of it, ball slightly overhit, but Grant has been very, very good for this Fulham side, for this Huddersfield side.
Well, he was one of the few bright spots in the second half of last season following his move from Charlton. The side, of course, he'll be playing against in the Championship this season. Bobby Reid will be coming on shortly for Fulham, but not before this corner from Pritchard. High in towards the near post, it's allowed to bounce, and Ream eventually puts his foot through it and just hoofs it away on the far side for a throw-in.
Yeah, whipped him with real pace there, and when that second ball dropped, but Ream was alive to it. But yeah, I'm not surprised that Scott Parker is going to call to his bench. Bobby Reid will be getting the instructions, and he'll want to come out. And I always say, you're not coming on as a sub, you're there as it's called a finisher. Can you come on, can you have a big impact and go and win this game for your side, and not sulk or anything because you're not starting. And Bobby Reid will think, I will get an opportunity if I come on here. He's seen him at Bristol City, at Cardiff, and he's a very, very good player at this level.
You're listening to Huddersfield against Fulham in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud sponsors of the EFL. A long ball played forward again onto the head of Schindler, but Fulham looking to press with 15 and a half minutes to play, but it's recovered by Congolo, and his ball slid down the line. Was interesting Kachunga before a lunging challenge from Sessegnon ensures that Huddersfield will have to be content with a throw-in on this near side. They've only finished higher than 16th in any season in the last 9, Huddersfield, and that was when, of course, they got promoted. So really, expectations are high this season, but it's not really based on their recent history. But when you taste the Premier League and it's taken away, then people very quickly want to repeat.
They do, but I think Wagner did an unbelievable job, but they have lost Moy, they have lost Billing, some very, very good players, and there's been a bit of that hangover, as you say. It's been difficult, but I'm surprised that Sievert's not looking at his bench as well, because both teams have been believing this game can be won, and it's the sort of games you need to be winning. And Chalobah there again, an unforced error, just a ball just behind that detail on the pass will be very frustrating.
And it's Bobby Reid who is coming on, and it's Stefan Johansson who comes off, the Norwegian.
And I think that's a positive substitution there from Scott Parker. That's Scott Parker saying, Johansson, you've gone, you've worked hard, you started off with some forward runs, you got on the ball, you ticked it over. Bobby Reid, you naturally find yourself in those goal-scoring positions. Lee Johnson turned him into a goal-scoring player, and he really had a knack of it for Bristol City. A bit difficult in the Premier League for Cardiff, but he will get in those positions, he'll score goals, and that is Scott Parker saying, I want to win this game, not draw it, I want to win it.
Scored 19 in the Championship 2 seasons ago when Bristol City also reached the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Harder going in the Premier League with Cardiff, but he wasn't alone. Now Ream for Fulham, and they are pushing hard here for the winning goal with 13 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. Don't forget, more Championship action on Sunday at noon. Reading against Cardiff, the M4 derby, followed by Super League action, Hull KR against Wakefield. Now Knockaert forced back into Fulham territory by Terence Congolo, and it's been a really good battle between those two. And I think the Dutchman has possibly had the better of it so far. Now Bettinelli. Finding Alfie Mawson, who's been given room to bring it forward. He plays a long ball over the top. Mitrovic will chase, but Schindler gets there first. And now Kachunga believes he was being held by Sessegnon. Although in fairness, Jan Sievert doesn't complain too loudly. But it's a throw-in for Huddersfield on this near side.
Good defending, wasn't it, from young Sessegnon? Just got tight to him.
He's had a really good game, actually.
He has, and you know, it's difficult coming in, and also when your brother's moved for the price tag he has, got the reputation he has, I've seen him playing League Cup games, which is his first league game, high expectations. I think he's done well against, and Pritchard's ended up going to the other side and thinking, I'm not really getting too much joy here. And I think he's marshalled Pritchard well. Yes, one booking, he's got forward well. Then Kachunga hasn't really beaten him. I think young Sessegnon's had a very, very competent debut.
And it must be difficult because when your brother has had such a high profile, because he's not the older brother, he's your twin.
Yeah.
So you must, in the back of your mind, you wouldn't be human if you weren't thinking, why aren't I doing that?
Yeah, but if you actually look at it in this day and age, as a young man, he's still very young, isn't he, to be playing in first team football at a club of this size. But because Ryan at 16 was doing it, yeah, it's tough, definitely, for sure.
Green just ensures the ball dribbles over the byline on the far side as Pritchard looked to express an interest, and it's gone behind for a goal kick to Fulham, who led briefly in this game. Alexandra Mitrovic heading in at the far post after a horrible error from Juninho Bacuna. But within 5 minutes, Carlin Grant's header given on goal line technology, and of course the right decision. Cavallero now for Fulham, plays the ball from left to right to Knockaert, who breaks into the penalty area onto his left foot again. He's got Sessegnon in support. Knockaert's back heel will release Sessegnon, who's around the back, delivers the cross high to the far post, chested down by Mitrovic, and now Kenny can't get the shot in. Here is Cavallero waiting for Bryan on the overlap, but Cavallero's curler is absolutely brilliant, and Ivan Cavallero's first goal for Fulham is a thing of beauty. A high curling shot beyond Grabara, and for the first time in 10 months Fulham have scored more than once away from home, and Ivan Cavallero with one of the goals of the season so far. Huddersfield 1, Fulham 2.
Well, we talked about in the build-up to the show that there's some real quality on show at both ends of the pitch, and you know what Cavallero wants to do, because he's a patient build-up. He's side to side. You think Huddersfield have maybe done enough to stop it, but the little run on the overlap from Bryan is what creates this goal, because Joe Bryan runs on the overlap. It just distracts a defender slightly, Hadergenai, and that allows Cavallero to then come in and on his right foot just open it up and bend it into that far top corner. Grabara has been beaten by a brilliant finish by Tom Lawrence against Derby County, and that is right up there. That's postage stamp, because Grabara is 6'5", and it's hard to save that, but that has gone right in there, and that is a goal, in my opinion, fit to win any game. But Scott Parker made an attacking substitution. Fulham kept going, and now let's see how Huddersfield do. But listen to this crowd, they've just turned a little, but what a goal from Cavallero.
Well, it has been coming,
yeah,
and it's no surprise it's come from one of the wide players. Both Cavallero and Knockaert have been really prominent for Fulham in the second half, and there is a Huddersfield Town fan stood right by the technical area, leaning over the barrier, trying to talk to Jan Sievert. Jan Sievert is actually saying, look, calm down. There are no stewards anywhere near, and look, in fairness to the guy, he was giving his view, and another guy has now come forward, and he's basically saying what he thinks as well. There are two Huddersfield Town fans now berating their own manager, and Jan Sievert is actually heading out towards the edge of the technical area, because at a time like this he doesn't really need it.
Yeah, Hudson there, who's played for Huddersfield, is a very good player. He's saying, look, calm down and go away. This isn't what they need now, and it is a frustration that's there. But I just feel that for whatever reason, whatever's happened in the window, but they're going to make a change now. But why has Sievert not gone to his bench earlier? I know he's brought Chalobah on. He had to make that change in Bacuna, but you just think that there were other changes need to be made, but people get very, very frustrated.
Well, the Huddersfield fan is still stood there, and he's still having his say. Mark Hudson has, I think, shook his hand and had a few words, and now the fan has walked off, and I think he's going home.
Yeah, but where are the stewards as well?
Yeah, where are they?
You've got to be careful, I just don't like to see this, but end of the day there is frustration here, but I just don't feel that you were saying it in all the commentary there. You could feel that goal was coming. You could feel the chance was coming. You can feel the ascendancy building, and that's where you have to make
a goal as brilliant as that doesn't change the situation for Jan Sievert, really.
No, look, so the header was a great goal for Huddersfield, but apart from that, as you say, Fulham were pressing, weren't they? They were pressing. He didn't make a change. He didn't stop it, and you could feel it coming, and that's where the best managers have to make changes and do things and get information on and stop it. Great goal, but he got to do something.
Steve Mounier will be coming on shortly for Huddersfield, and Harrison Reed for Fulham.
Good player as well, Harrison.
Player on loan from Southampton. He's been at Norwich and Blackburn in recent years. And Mounier is coming on for Elias Kachunga.
Again, for me, that's a strange substitution. When I spoke to Huddersfield fans, and they were playing in the Premier League, they'd go behind, yet he wouldn't make changes to counteract it that will get them back into a game. It was just a like for like. So Kachunga there is just walking around the pitch. He's not even come jogging.
That's the rule.
Is that the rule? Okay, so he's walking around there.
The earliest opportunity.
So you have to leave it there. Okay, so he's walking around. Fair enough. But yeah, and the other guy there. Sorry, all these new rules that are coming on. I thought maybe that you could. Okay, so he's walking around there.
That's why Cavallero's gone.
Yeah, he's gone that way as well. So fair enough. Sorry,
he can take the applause from the Fulham fans when he walks behind the goal away to the right.
Yeah, and Kachunga. Yeah, okay, so this is a time wasting thing. Okay, and then Van der Parra coming on. So Van der Parra's attacking substitution, but again, Pritchard, who's an offensive player, coming off. You've got to get back into the game. You'd rather lose it 3-1, but try and draw it 2-2. That's my opinion.
You've got players like Hogg and O'Brien who've been okay, but they're defensive-minded players.
Yeah, so just for me, it'd be interesting when you speak to Sievert after the game, what he's seeing there and why he's making those changes, because you have to live and die by change. And also, very, very late to go to his bench, and it'd be hard for these players to have reaction, but the fans are frustrated. We talked about time. I don't think these Huddersfield fans are happy at all.
Well, now Chalobah has gone down under a challenge, but no free kick is being given. Here is Reed streaking into the penalty area. Right foot shot from him is poured away by Grabara. Mitrovic will try and gather on this near side. Chalobah is still down, clutching his face, and play will continue. Mitrovic by the corner flag now, looking to just wind down the clock, and two Huddersfield players come towards him, and it was Van der Parra who made the challenge. Pongolo who clears. Mitrovic is now down, clutching his face as well. He is off the pitch, and play will be eventually stopped, so Chalobah can receive some treatment.
Yeah, Chalobah thought he was caught. He's saying he is, but when you go down like that and you stay down, the ref plays on, you need to be hurt, because if he just gets on now, that could have been because they ended up with a shot, didn't it, and a save, and then Mitrovic ends up in the corner. There's a coming together here. He feels that Van der Parra has kicked out a little rock. No, I don't like that.
That's terrible for Mitrovic. Having looked at the replay, he has gone down, rolling around, clutching his face, trying to give the impression that Van der Parra kicked him in the face, and nothing like that happened. Alexander Mitrovic should be banned for that.
Yeah, I think that's poor. I think that's really, really poor. And once it's done as well, is there's a fight kicking off around the corner with the fans. It's sort of inciting the fans, if you like. Fans coming over.
Yeah, there are fans in that corner now who are gesticulating, but really, the FA should look at that. They should look at what Mitrovic did, and he should get a ban for simulation.
Because you're trying to get your fellow professional sent off. He's getting treatment. That means they're a player down as well. But the Bamford incident, do you remember when the player got sent off for Aston Villa?
Oh, was that game?
Yeah. I don't like seeing that. I don't see the point of it. I think Mitrovic has been absolutely fantastic. He's hold up play, he's worked hard, he's got a really good header. He's going to be off the pitch now. But Van der Parra did nothing there. There's no need for that. But also, it just incites the fans down in the corner, and the tensions are running high. Just don't see the point in doing it. As for Chalobah, I don't think he was really caught there either, and he could have played on, and they ended up having a shot at his goal. So, very strange. But all in all, it's been a good second half.
4 minutes to play. Fulham lead by 2-1, and you wonder what the consequences could be for Jan Sievert if Huddersfield lose this game. The majority shareholder, Paul Hodgkinson, has said he's not one for knee-jerk reactions. He doesn't interfere, and he thinks that Sievert's had plenty of unfair criticism, and he's also told the supporters they're asking where the money's gone, and he basically said the money they made from the Premier League and this season's parachute payment has all gone on transfers, wages and bonuses, so there was nothing left. for this season.
Well, the window's closed anyway, so this is the players now that he has to work with. Unless he's going to bring any frees in, this is the window. This is what he's got to work with. You live and die by your recruitment.
Oh, terrific play from Knockaert. A mazy dribble right down the centre, and he's got support from Mitrovic. Mitrovic comes in field, has Knockaert in support, then gives the ball away to Hogg.
Yeah, driving play there. Could Knockaert have released it earlier, but I thought then Mitrovic was going to do a little back heel to Knockaert. The game's getting very, very stretched. But I don't know, Fulham looked like they could go and get another one. The subs haven't had an impact, but it's just like for like. As we said, it wasn't like they took off some of the more defensive-minded players in Hogg and O'Brien and then brought on the likes of Van La Parra. This is like for like. Fulham are still dominating the game. The substitutes have not impacted it one bit.
Things have calmed down in the corner away to our right. The stewards have now taken the Fulham fans away from the area of seating closest to the Huddersfield supporters, but that was all caused by Mitrovic rolling around, clutching his face when he hadn't been kicked.
Yeah, and there's no need for it. And but going back to Sievert, he has coached these players. You want a reaction, but if this crowd that are very, very good for Huddersfield, they were, I believe, and played a massive part in the success under Wagner. He brought them on side, the owners, everybody. But if this place starts to turn, right, that's 2 home defeats, 3 if you include the cup competition, right, then you've got to look at it with Sievert and think, are we going to make the change very, very early and get somebody in who can change this mood? Because if they has spent that amount of money, the parachute payments, the Premier League money, some big players, I know they've lost Moy and Billing, then you should be doing better, you should be competing, because that's a lot of money that's been spent.
The crowd, 20,775. Well, there's already been speculation that Sol Campbell is on the market.
Okay.
He's available.
Looking the job he did in Macclesfield, very good and under very difficult circumstances. But their last performance, and they won 3-0 at home, was it?
They beat Blackpool in the Carabao Cup on penalties.
Very good. So it'll be interesting to know exactly what's gone on there. But Sol's done his thing. He's a big name. Look, I don't want to advocate for a manager to be sacked, but it's a results business. But you also want to see some performances, and I don't think the 2 games I've seen here over the 90 minutes live already has been enough on show.
Having got back into the game, the response wasn't good enough.
No, the crowd got behind him. It's a fantastic header, and then there was no response. Then when Fulham started to dominate, get on the ball, get into areas, look like they're really, really pressing again, no change, no reaction, didn't do anything. Didn't think, right, what's hurting us? What are we doing? Can we shore it up a little bit more? Can we get different personnel on? Then the changes, no impact. There was still enough time to get back into the game, no impact.
We're deep inside the final moments in the 90 minutes here. Huddersfield 1, Fulham 2 on TalkSport 2. Fulham heading for a very rare away victory. It will be only their second since they were promoted into the Premier League. There'll be 5 added minutes though, so there is still an opportunity for Huddersfield. Maxime Le Marchand will be coming on shortly for Fulham, player who was taken off before half-time at Barnsley on the opening day. As Huddersfield look to build, but now they've given the ball away. Here is Cavallero. Reed just goes back towards Ream. And Fulham, in the second half, have looked the better side in what was a very poor first half. They looked the more competent, if that's the way we can put it, and since then their qualities really shone through.
So if I said to you, what's the identity of Fulham? I think you'd say they build from the back, they get the ball down, they play, occasionally go a little bit longer, but there's pace.
They've got the option, they've got Mitrovic.
Yeah, you can see what they're trying to do. I'm going to ask you, what are Huddersfield actually trying to do?
Well, they've got wide players, but they never give them the ball.
Yeah, but there's sometimes high press, there's sometimes low press, they sometimes build from the back. I can't see a real identity of what they're trying to do, a real game plan. You know what Fulham are going to do, and I felt early on there was stuff there, but after that, there's not been anything there.
Anthony Knockaert will be replaced by Maxime Le Marchand. Huddersfield have been given a free kick about 30 yards out, right of centre, and Knockaert made sure he was right in the middle of the pitch there, so he has to make the longest possible walk-off he can.
They give it a who, me? Oh, I'm coming up, am I? So I'd see why that rule is there, but I didn't realise for the, especially for the team that was losing, what the what the point is in it, but I totally get it now that you have to get off as quickly as you can. But Knockaert, yeah, a little bit of gamesmanship there. I thought in the second half he's been a lot more effective. First half, none of the star players, Kearney, Knockaert, for either side, were on it. But now, set piece right at the end, you never know. If they can nick something here, it could just change the game massively and the complexion of the season. I know that's a big statement so early on, but it could change things.
Well, Grant is over the free kick, lofts it high into the penalty area. Mitrovic heads it away, and it's a corner.
I thought that was overhit and he could have let it go, but he didn't want to take any risk. But this is what it is. It's still only 2-1. You know, it's 2-1, set piece. They can nick something here. This is where they can look a threat.
Now Grant from the corner. It was taken short. His shot was blocked. Van La Parra down the left-hand side now. He's challenged, though, by Sessignon, who wins the ball, but he can't link up with Reed. O'Brien recovers for Huddersfield. Hogg. A high ball into the penalty area. Chalabar will leap for it, but the final touch was off Mitrovic, and it's gone out for a throw-in by the corner flag on the far side with 2.5 minutes of added time played. Huddersfield trailing by 2-1, heading for their third home defeat out of 3 in all competitions so far this season. O'Brien tries to knock it down the line, but Reed makes the challenge, and coming up they've got away games at Cardiff and Luton. Not easy before the international break. O'Brien's high ball into the box again. Congolo at the far post tries to deliver the ball into the 6-yard area. It was the right sort of idea, but it was the wrong sort of delivery. It's gathered by Bettinelli. There is now a Fulham player down inside the 6-yard area, and there'll be more treatment and more added time.
We're looking at, again, poor communication. You look at Congolo. Why has he tried to play that ball across first time? He can bring this down. They've isolated young Sessignon at the back post. There's a little coming together there, Mawson and Bettinelli, but bit of pressure, well defended by Fulham. Huddersfield having to go a little bit more direct. Fair play to Fulham, they stood strong, but there, Congolo, more composure in that area. But all in all, Huddersfield, yes, a fantastic header, but they haven't really done enough, have they, in this game to deserve anything?
No. A minute of added time to play, but there's still time to snatch something. They trail by 2-1. Harriata is penalised for a challenge on Hogg, and this will be the key for everybody to get forward. Jan Sievert is waving all of his players forward, and Grabara is urged to take the free kick, which he will now do. Now or never for Huddersfield. The free kick wide to this near side is flicked on by Schindler. Schindler, though, is penalised for a push, and Fulham will have the opportunity to clear their lines, and that may be that.
Yeah, now Arthur's going down saying he's got cramp in his calf. And to be fair to these Huddersfield fans, they're only starting to leave now. They stayed with their team right to the end. Now they've seen enough. Hearing a few whistles, there's some frustration. They probably think it's over. I think Hull, get my words out. Fulham have managed the game well, and since they've gone ahead and looked like they can maybe get one on the counter-attack, but still marshalled Huddersfield very, very well. But and I think in this second half, Scott Parker's men have really done a good job, and that quality up top, we thought they had too much for Huddersfield, and it really looks that way.
And the reaction around Jan Sievert at the full-time whistle will be very, very interesting. We are sat about 15 rows behind the technical areas here at the John Smith Stadium, and we are into the 6th minute of added time. Huddersfield 1, Fulham 2 on TalkSport 2. Mawson challenging Van La Parra, and he's fouled Van La Parra, and Huddersfield have a free kick. Another chance to get forward here, and the goalkeeper, Grabara, is heading forward towards the edge of the penalty area.
Just try and cause some confusion, but they're going to pile it into the box. Fulham need to hold a high line, get onto second balls as well. Scott Parker knows, come on, see this out, and we've won the 3 points.
Havayonai will take the free kick. High towards the far post, the goalkeeper's challenging for it. Nodded away by Le Marchand, and he stayed forward, but Mitrovic will clear, and that is that. And the boos around the John Smith Stadium tell the story. A third successive home defeat for Jan Sievert, and you have to wonder how long he can survive as Huddersfield Town manager. The pressure has been piled on. Relegation has been followed by a dreadful start to the season. But for Fulham, their reaction is very, very different. It's a welcome away victory for them, and they will be among the early challengers at the top of the table. Ivan Cavallero with a fine winning goal, but the story really is Huddersfield Town, relegated in terrible fashion last season, and their downward plummet has continued. Full time, Huddersfield Town 1, Fulham 2.